Morning, everybody. I want you to take a second to consider the following. Do you believe your abilities to be fixed? That might be tough to answer abstractly, so let's think of some examples. Is it possible to work really hard and run faster or lift heavier weights? Could you become a better cook? Or what about music? Could you learn to play the piano or the guitar or the violin if you worked really hard at it? And the answer to all of these intuitively is yes, of course. I might not become an Olympian or Gordon Ramsay or Mozart, but I can get better for sure. Okay, but how about this? Can you become smarter? Hmm. Oftentimes when you're doing your work, you want to do this to it. Crumple it all up, throw it against the wall, frustration, scream. And frankly, that's probably a good thing to do from time to time. We can't blame our ids, our lizard brains, for their instincts. But when we do, we need to take a moment to remember that what our remarkable brains are capable of is growth, literal growth in the form of connections, synapses. See, if you unfold that paper and look at it, you can remind yourself that your struggles, your failures, is actually what you're seeking. See, the neurons in your brain are constantly building new connections, new electrical connections, and those connections are made when you struggle. It's really cool to watch, too. Check this out. See, every once in a while, your neurons will fire when they are forced to. And in firing like that, what you get is the creation of new connections, growth. It's pretty cool. So this is what we're after. We're after growth. But if we believe that we are not capable of growth, we limit ourselves. We avoid challenges. We give up easily. We are threatened by the success of others because we fear that we can't do the same. We seek out looking smart instead of getting smart. And we believe any effort we put in has no point because we don't believe we can actually grow. If, however, we believe in our growth, then we are going to continue even when we fail because we know we can get better at something. We are going to embrace challenges. We'll accept criticism because we know that that criticism is going to help us get where we want to go. Now, this may seem touchy-feely, but the science is behind it as well. Take a look at brain activity among those who believe themselves to have a fixed intelligence. There's no activity at all. When you don't engage in difficult activities that force you to grow, that bring you failure, your brain doesn't activate. And when your brain doesn't activate, it doesn't grow. Whereas when you look at the growth mindset group, it's totally different. In addition, outcomes are better. If you look at math achievement for middle school and high school kids, those kids who demonstrate growth mindsets, in fact, do grow, whereas those with fixed mindsets tend to do worse. And this is true across the spectrum of initial grade abilities. So it's not just the ones who are weak. Across the board, whether they are strong or weak in a subject, if they demonstrate a fixed mindset, they get weaker. So, what do we do about this? How do we promote that growth mindset in ourselves? Well, the first thing we have to do is we can't praise our own intelligence, right? We are where we are today. That can't be a sign of what we can and can't do tomorrow. Instead, we have to recognize and appreciate our process, our engagement, the strategies that we have around improvement, our perseverance, our effort, and our progress. Those are the indicators, and so we have to make sure that we recognize those in ourselves. No false praise. Effort that leads to no progress is not good effort. It has to be deliberate effort with good outcomes. And if you find yourself having disappointing outcomes, it's time to try a new strategy. Make sure that you establish vulnerability as a sign of strength instead of a sign of weakness. It is okay to get frustrated. In fact, that's what we should feel. Because if we're not feeling frustrated, we're not pushing ourselves. Feel frustrated. Get upset. Cry if you have to. Because that's what means that we're pushing ourselves in the right ways. And then we have to make sure that we choose good words to describe our work. I am not good. I can't. I do not have the ability. I'm not smart enough. These are not the ways to talk about it, because when we do, we convince our brains that is true, and then our brains don't activate in times of struggle under duress. So instead, we have to change the words. And so we reject that vocabulary in favor of I can do better, I can improve, I want to try, I want to engage, I believe in myself, I want to fail. I'm seeking failure for the purpose of growth. And then we have to make sure that when we do that, we provide ourselves what we call Goldilocks tasks, things that are hard enough to provide challenge, but not so hard that we hit up against a brick wall in constant failure and eventually reject. Okay? And so when we do that, we put ourselves in prime position to continue to grow. And most importantly, when you do feel yourself hitting that brick wall repeatedly, make sure you take a break. Because when you take a break and you relax and you reset, you'll be primed ever more to go back in and find that struggle again and continue to